The result of the vote on motion 20898 in the name of Graham Day is yes 92, no 23. There were no abstentions. The motion is therefore agreed. The next item of business is consideration of 3 Parliamentary Bureau motions, and I ask the Minister on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau to move motions 20899 to 20901 on approval of SSIs.
Move, Presiding Officer.
Thank you. The question on these motions will be put at decision time, and there are 2 questions to be put as a result of today's business. The first question is that motion 20860 in the name of Shona Robertson on the Budget Scotland No. 5 bill at stage 3 be agreed. And as this is a motion to pass the bill, the question must be decided by division. Therefore, the question is that motion 20860 in the name of Shona Robertson on the Budget Scotland No. 5 bill at stage 3 be agreed, and members should cast their votes now. The vote is closed. The result of the vote on motion 20860 in the name of Shona Robertson is yes 66, no 29. There were 24 abstentions. The motion is therefore agreed, and the Budget Scotland No. 5 bill is passed. Thank you. I propose to ask a single question on 3 Parliamentary Bureau motions. Does any member object? No member objects. Therefore, the question is that motions 20899 to 20901 on approval of SSIs in the name of Graham Day on behalf of the Parliamentary Bureau be agreed. Are we all agreed? Yes. The motions are therefore agreed. That concludes decision time, and we will now move on to members' business in the name of Gillian Mackay.
Could I ask those members who are leaving the chamber to please do so now, and to do so quietly, because we will now move on to the next item of business. And the next item of business, the final item of business, is a member's business debate on motion 2076. Could I ask members to please leave quietly? The final item of business is the member's business debate on motion 20769 in the name of Gillian Mackay on recognising the contribution that football clubs and their fans make to society. This debate will be concluded without any questions being put. I would invite those members who would wish to speak in the debate to please press the request to speak buttons. I would point out to members, given the lateness of the hour and other receptions not being able to start until we finish, that I will be expecting members to keep to their time, which is 7 minutes for the opening member, 4 minutes for the open speeches and 7 minutes for the Minister. And I do have a button that can help to enforce that, just to let you know. And with that, I call on Gillian Mackay to open the debate. Up to 7 minutes, please.
Warning noted, Presiding Officer. It doesn't take politicians speaking in this chamber to highlight just how much football means to the people of Scotland. You could see from the jubilant scenes up and down the country last November when Steve Clarke's men's squad qualified for our first World Cup since I was 7, that football is not only an escapism for many, but a way of life. Our national game can often be an outlet. Football allows hundreds of thousands of people across Scotland an escape. It can bring much-needed optimism in a time of struggle, and it can bring a sense of purpose, belonging and civic pride. It creates friendships and family bonds that can last lifetimes. More so, football can open people up to a world beyond their locality. It gives supporters an opportunity to visit places they may never have considered visiting, to learn about other cultures they knew little about, and to have experiences that go beyond the 90 minutes on the pitch. Last month, independent academic research revealed that Scottish football contributes £820 million to the Scottish economy and supports 14,315 jobs. The assessment from the Fraser of Allender Institute underlines the growing contribution of our national sport and its clubs to the Scottish economy. The study also found that attendance at professional matches involving Scottish teams topped 6.8 million during the 23-24 campaign. In my Central Scotland region, I'm extremely proud to have several football clubs that go above and beyond in the communities they serve. In the Scottish Premiership, both Motherwell and Falkirk, two fan-owned football clubs being driven through the Wells Society and the Falkirk Supporters Society, are punching well above their weight, sitting comfortably within the top 6 teams in the country and mounting challenges for those lucrative European spots. Recently, I had the pleasure of visiting Derek Allison and the team at the Falkirk Foundation. The work the Foundation does is invaluable, from providing a full pathway for under-7 girls football to the senior team, to baby bairns, classes for kids starting at just 18 months. The organisation leads the way in offering mental health training, football classes for people living with Down syndrome, monthly engagement initiatives to tackle social isolation for people over 60, and so much more. The Falkirk Foundation is a well-established anchor organisation at the heart of my community. Similarly, the wonderful Dawn and the team at Motherwell Football Club Community Trust use the power of football as a tool for community engagement. In 2021, a year disrupted by lockdowns, restricted numbers and travel, the Trust brought benefits of £13.64 million to the local community. When we talk about football, we often talk about the clubs, the enthralling matches, the less enthralling matches, and the trophies won. But without fans, these moments would be diluted and that financial contribution would be significantly less. I brought forward this debate to highlight the contribution that football clubs and their fans make to society. As I've touched on, football is one of the most loved and successful sports in the country, and Scotland boasts some of the most loyal supporters anywhere in Europe. But the more I speak to supporters and supporters' organisations, the more I become increasingly aware that fans feel they're being taken for granted, that they are the only stakeholder that is consistently removed from debates. Put simply, decisions affecting football fans are being made without the input of football fans. This is nothing new, but it is a cause that I believe we as parliamentarians must seek to change. Match-going fans have long been misunderstood. Those attending matches in Scotland have at times been targeted by the media, politicians and police. Instances of disorder, even though they are typically relate to only a tiny minority of spectators, have had the football fandom suffering from the stigma. But when football fans unite and organise, they can achieve some incredible things. Just ask those who run fan-supporting food banks at stadiums across the country, the ultras groups who've organised toy collections or helped those in need in their communities, and medical aid for Palestinians who receive significant donations following campaigns by Celtic fans. What I'd like to see from my colleagues across the chamber is the commitment to see the best in football supporters, to value their contribution and to support them to grow our game and create a positive culture. As football becomes increasingly commodified and sanitised, it loses its identity. A huge factor in that has been the rising ticket costs we're seeing across the board. Football is meant to be for everyone, but all over our country there are families and working class fans being priced out of attending matches. As an example, for the upcoming Rangers-Celtic match in the Scottish Cup, adults are being charged £53 with concessions being around £10 less. This estimates a ticket revenue from the game of over £2.5 million. Both clubs will receive more in gate receipts from this game than the winners of the Cup will receive in prize money. It's totally exploiting the loyalty of fans. The Scottish Greens are calling for a £25 cap on away tickets in Scotland. In January, I urged the First Minister at First Minister's Questions to back the cap and wrote to all 42 professional clubs, urging them to support a fair pricing agreement that would keep football accessible for supporters during the cost of living crisis. I'm delighted that that campaign has been backed by several supporters already and by organisations like the Scottish Supporters Collective and Supporters Direct Scotland. Recent matches have seen supporters take matters into their own hands, holding up banners demanding a £25 cap and sending a clear message to clubs and football authorities across Scotland that this is an issue fans deeply care about. I'm grateful to fans at Falkirk, Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Celtic, Hibs, St Johnstone, Partick Thistle, Dundee United and Aberdeen. We have also previously seen support for lower ticket prices at St Mirren. Fans of Falkirk and Hibs have also gone a step further and boycotted recent matches at Celtic Park, stating that the pricing structure was unacceptable, and I commend their efforts. Clubs should listen to their supporters. The passion and organisation we're seeing from fans shows that there's a strong appetite for change, and it's time for football authorities and clubs to respond. We need to see more democracy at the heart of Scottish football. We must look at a fairer distribution of resources and marketing our game better to attract further ethical investment that doesn't come from health-harming products or from gambling. We must do more to put supporters' voices at the forefront. We must ensure that fans can have an ownership stake.
Ms Mackay, you need to conclude.
And a strong voice in how the clubs are run. Scottish football is a unique melting pot of passion, colour, joy and, at times, heartbreak. We must make sure that fans are centred at the heart of this, and I thank others for supporting my motion.
Thank you, Ms Mackay. I now call Jamie Hepburn to be followed by Brian Whittle. Mr Hepburn.
Thank you very much, President Officer. Can I begin by thanking Gillian Mackay for lodging a motion which we debate this evening. This is the third debate I've taken part in recent weeks on the value of Scottish football. I see some regular contributors, Mr Adam, Mr Whittle, have contributed to those debates as well. And I see nothing wrong in that. It does speak to the centrality of football as part of the lived experience for many of us in Scotland. For my own part, I very much enjoyed being at Firhill on Saturday, watching Partick Thistle beat Airdrie 1-0. I always enjoy watching Airdrie lose against Partick Thistle, it has to be said. And I should say, as an aside, I'm looking forward to being at St Mirren in a couple of weeks' time, where I'll watch my team defeat Mr Adams in the Scottish Cup quarter-final. And I will say, as an aside, I commend my motion recognising the 150th anniversary of Partick Thistle Football Club to all members, and if colleagues have not signed it yet, then I would urge them to do so. And I declare an interest as a member of the Jags Foundation as part of the fan-owned nature of the club. I wanted to focus most of my remarks on what's given back by football fans, because I do think that is an important thing to reflect on, because all too often we hear things reported negatively in that context. And an awful lot of good does happen. The Minister will be able to testify that, and in terms of her role, I'm sure she'll have engaged with many of the trusts and foundations that are out there. And I did similar when I was Sports Minister in the dim and distant past, and was very heartened to see what was being done. The sum total of that activity, I'm sure someone has quantified it. I might have even been able to testify to that back in the day. But the sum total of the activity of these foundations and trusts is significant. The figures that Gillian Mackay talked about in relation to Motherwell alone, in terms of the Lanarkshire area is significant. And we should reflect on that. I see that with my own team through the efforts of the Partick Thistle Charitable Trust and the activity they undertake in North Glasgow. I see it through Jags for Good, which is just an informal organisation where the supporters have been raising funds for local food banks and also initiatives to welcome refugees to the city in my own area, of course part of the central Scotland region. We see that also as part of a core activity of grassroots football clubs. The core activity in of itself is a social good. The commitment to ensuring that people have that outlet for leisure and sporting activity. Those who volunteer their time are drawing good from it. I see that with the various amateur and youth teams in my area. I see it with the 4 teams that exist in the Scottish football pyramid in terms of some of the activity they undertake. Cumbernauld United play Cumbernauld Colts in a fundraising Cumbernauld Cup game every year, which raises funds for local charity. I've seen them taking part in food bank collections. I've seen them taking part in safety awareness campaigns with Network Rail for their young players. Touching very quickly, because I see we don't have much time, in terms of ticket costs, I do think something needs to be done. I recognise it's not within the gift of this Parliament to legislate for that area. The figures that were cited in terms of the upcoming Old Firm Scottish Cup quarter-final are frankly staggering. I have to tread carefully, of course, as a West of Scotland MSP, speaking in such vein rather than as a Partick Thistle fan per se, but I would recommend or commend other Glasgow football teams to other people to be able to go and watch a game. But that is a ridiculous amount, and something should be done. And I think the notion of a price cap is something that the football authorities should be considering. £25 seems still to me to be a little bit too much, but certainly there should be a cap. That's something that should be looked at, and I thank Gillian Mackay for bringing forward the debate.
Thank you, Mr Hepburn. I call Brian Whittle to be followed by Neil Bibby.
Thank you very much, Deputy Presiding Officer. Can I thank Gillian Mackay for bringing her motion to Parliament today and allowing some of us to once again talk about about football. I mean, I want to really talk about. I did an event about 2 or 3 weeks ago in the Festival of Politics around the soft power of sport. I chaired an event on that, which I think members that are sitting in this debate today would have enjoyed. And I remember I opened that with saying that sport doesn't care about colour, creed, religion or sexuality. Sport only cares about performance. And what sport does is has that inextricable ability to draw communities together around a passion. I think that's something I've tried to talk about in here many times. How sport can break down barriers, how sport can influence and impact on people's life. And we're talking about football today, and I have to say, as I always do, the last football match I saw was on Sunday, as my grandson played for Ayr United, 12-year-olds, just before we get in, 12-year-olds against St Johnstone. And again, it's the community around that football club. It's not just, they're drawn from all over the place, and we all gather there in that community to watch these kids, joyfully knock lumps out each other. Actually, as it turned out, but it was, that ability for us to be there in that community. My eldest grandson, it's rugby, and it's a different community, all come together around the passion of that particular sport. And Gillian Mackay quite rightly talks about the influence of football in those communities, and there's many instances I could talk about here. Motherwell Football Club, I'm there every Monday night because I join with my good friend Tommy McKean, who coaches there, and both of us we get our squads together. And Motherwell Football Club, when they were looking for somewhere to house themselves, gave it to them for free. They have that indoor facility for free. So that acts, it's the centre of our communities. And I've talked very much about things like, the changing room initiative that they do at Hearts and Hibs. That ability of those football clubs to reach out into communities where statutory services just won't be able to do. Incredibly powerful. We've talked about, I mean, I know that St Mirren, because I'm not going to go into that in great detail, because I'm pretty sure that will be mentioned after me. But you know, the way in which those community clubs bring together the people around the coalesce around that passion. And I think we undervalue it, quite frankly. I think we undervalue the soft power of sport. I think we undervalue the impact it can have on the things that we're trying to do. We're trying to stop conflict. We're trying to, you know, create that community ethos, that community spirit. And I think we just undervalue the power of sport. I think we underfund the power of sport. One thing I would say is we have to be careful when we talk about ticket prices, because the last time we had this debate, I was approached by somebody from St Johnstone to say, did you know that we offer a free ticket for a child going along with an adult? And I think those are the kind of initiatives that we need to be aware of. So I know I'm running out of time.
Yes, Mr Whittle, you are, indeed.
I was just going to thank Gillian Mackay for once again allowing me the opportunity to talk all things sport.
Thank you, Mr Whittle. I now call Neil Bibby to be followed by Faisal Chowdhury.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. I welcome the opportunity to speak in this debate. I think Jamie Hepburn commented that this was one of a number of debates that we've had on football recently. I can't say I've participated in all of them, but some may even say we've had some fixture congestion when it comes to the debates on football in this chamber. But I thank Gillian Mackay for bringing this particular debate forward to recognise the importance of fans to our national game. And the immortal words of Jock Stein, football without fans is nothing, is worth repeating because it is absolutely true anywhere in the world. But here in Scotland, our passion and support is seldom surpassed, because the Scottish Premiership already has the highest weekly match attendances per head than any other country in Europe, and that was before the rollercoaster of this season that we have witnessed. St Mirren winning the League Cup, Scotland qualifying for the World Cup, and we also have the exciting title race involving 4 teams, with Hearts and Motherwell not just winning games but playing fantastic football too. And we also still have 8 teams that could win the Scottish Cup too, as we've already heard. So what a brilliant time to be a football fan in Scotland. But we've also have to recognise, and we've heard, the costs involved for fans of attending games. And I've said before in relation to the World Cup, and I would say in relation to football at any level, we cannot or should not price ordinary working people out of the game that they love. So, as Mr Whittle has done, I would welcome and commend the schemes operated by clubs such as St Mirren and other clubs who offer significantly reduced ticket prices for children, or indeed free tickets for local school children, because attending football matches for families can be, on low incomes, can be particularly challenging. Yes, I will.
Gillian Mackay.
Would Mr Bibby support and recognise that the cap that we're looking for is on away tickets? So while there's some great initiatives at individual clubs, it's actually being able to follow their clubs on the road that people are being priced out of.
Bibby.
Yes, I do, but I think actually I do. I think particularly for away fans, there's issues about affordability, but I think there's also issues for home fans as well. And I think we do need to look at both in the round, because particularly for families attending home matches, that you know, there's the ticket prices, but there's also everything else that goes along with that, even with home matches. Of course, we have to recognise the significant economic contribution that Scottish football and its supporters make. A report by the Fraser-Valander Institute, recently commissioned by the SPFL, SFA and SWPL, showed that the national game created £840 million of gross value added to the economy and supports 14,315 full-time equivalent jobs. It's clear that ticket revenue is an important part of clubs' revenue, and we need to recognise that. But I hope and expect that our football clubs will look carefully at what further can be done to balance revenue needs with making attending football more affordable, not just for away fans but home fans too. There is no doubt away fans at football matches help make the atmosphere at football matches, but our football clubs will surely want to boost and fill any seats in the home stands too, if they can. So I thank Gillian Mackay for bringing forward this debate. Look forward to hearing the response from the 42 clubs and also the Scottish Government. I would agree that the clubs should listen to fans and engage with fans on this, and I would also join other members in praising the work that fans do. Thank you very much, President Officer.
Thank you, Mr Bibby. I call Faisal Chowdhury to be followed by George Adam.
Thank you, Deputy Presiding Officer. I would like to thank Gillian Mackay for securing this important debate. I know Gillian has been campaigning passionately on various football issues to ensure that football remains focused on the fans, the very people who sustain it. On any match day in my Lothian region, whether you are walking through Leith towards Easter Road Stadium or heading to Tynecastle Park, the atmosphere on our street is transformed. You can feel the energy, the vibrancy and unity. On match day, our local businesses thrive too. Cafes, pubs, shops are full. The local economy feels boost. However, match day is not just about sports. It's about community life. Families and friends gather to celebrate the beautiful game. Sons and daughters attend their first live matches, an experience that stays with them forever. I remember going to my first match at Tynecastle with my uncle and my family to watch Hearts playing. And, of course, at the moment, I would like to show my... I'm a Hearts supporter, and my team is at the top of the league. And hopefully, by end of this league, Heart of Midlothian will win the Premier League. And of course, I'm looking forward for Scotland winning the World Cup too. I remember the roaring crowd, the anticipation, the pride. It never left me. The first match. I cannot remember who won, but it stayed with me from the very young age. In challenging times, football offers something powerful. For 90 minutes, people can set aside their daily worries. Supporters have told me that after a win, they feel lifted and re-energized, ready to face the week ahead with renewed optimism. Fans are the lifeblood of our clubs. They are the 12th person pushing the teams forward and creating that sense of camaraderie and belonging. But their impact goes far beyond the stadium walls. Earlier this week, I visited Spartans FC Community Foundation in Pilton. Their work brings together football, youth work, education and community engagement. They support weekly around 2,500 local people and employ 77 staff. Many of them are loyal supporters. Their new education pavilion includes a STEM club and they work within 940 people, creating academic and sporting opportunity for young people from all backgrounds. North Edinburgh is also wouldn't be the same without the Hibs Community Foundation. With the help of volunteer funds, they run active school initiatives, Football for All session and holiday camps for young people. For the 2025-26 season, Hibernian FC has brought back its Football for a Fiver initiative, helping to remove barriers for families who want to attend the matches. Other football foundations like Big Hearts Community Trust have amazing community programs such as the Welcome Through Football program to support young refugees, integrate and find jobs. Heart of Midlothian also run the Warm Welcome Free Lunch Club every Wednesday at the 1874 Fun Bar at Tynecastle Park, a lifeline to many vulnerable and socially isolated people in the local community.
Mr. Chaudhry, you need to bring your points to a close.
This is why we must give greater power to the football fans. And I will end here by wishing the Scotland football team all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Chaudhry. And I now call George Adam. Mr. Adam.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. And I too have been involved in many of these debates, and I'm going to make sure this is all new speech and you don't have your finger anywhere near that button, Presiding Officer, because I'm delighted to contribute to this debate brought forward by my friend and colleague Gillian Mackay, recognising the vital contribution that our football clubs make to their fans and our society. I've said before, but football isn't just a game here in Scotland, it's woven into the fabric of our communities. And Paisley St Mirren Football Club have been a cornerstone of our community for generations, bringing people together across all backgrounds and ages. Presiding Officer, I'm particularly proud of the work I led in establishing the St Mirren Independent Supporters Association fan ownership model we have built in Paisley. SMISA now holds a majority stake in St Mirren FC, ensuring that supporters have a genuine voice in how their club is run. Our partnership with Kibble as a corporate stakeholder mirrors the successful German model of fan ownership, where clubs must maintain the 50+1 rule, ensuring members retain majority voting rights. At St Mirren, we've created a similar structure where community ownership works alongside responsible corporate partnership. Kibble's involvement has been transformative, but crucially, the fans remain at the heart of all the decision-making. Fan ownership has grown across Scotland. Currently, there are 20 supporter-owned or part-owned clubs in Scottish football, including Hearts, Motherwell, Dunfermline Athletic and Stirling Albion. In Germany, the model is even more established, as all Bundesliga clubs except 3 clubs operate under the 50+1 rule, with 15 of the 18 clubs having majority fan ownership. This has created one of the most affordable and fan-friendly cultures in Europe, with average ticket prices significantly lower than in Scotland and England. In my constituency, I've witnessed firsthand the transformative work being done by St Mirren. The club has a beacon of inclusivity, achieving a recognition as a disabled-friendly club through their partnership with the charity I Am Me Scotland. This groundbreaking work ensures that everyone, regardless of their abilities, can enjoy the beautiful game in a safe, welcoming environment. That is what football should be all about, opening doors, not closing them. Presiding Officer, we must acknowledge that football is facing a crisis of affordability. Working-class fans and families are being priced out of the game they love. When someone on a modest income has to choose between paying bills and taking their child to see their local football team, something has gone fundamentally wrong. I support the calls for a £25 cap on away ticket prices in Scotland. Yes, I do recognise that ticket sales form a more significant proportion of revenue for Scottish clubs compared to many other European leagues. Unlike England's Premier League or Germany's Bundesliga, where broadcasting deals provide substantial income, our Scottish clubs rely heavily on gate receipts. According to recent analysis, ticket sales account for 20 to 30% of revenue for most SPFL clubs. However, this should be used as not as an excuse. It should be a call for creative thinking. How do we balance financial sustainability with accessibility? How do we ensure our clubs can thrive while keeping the game affordable for ordinary families? The German model shows us the way forward. By combining fan ownership with affordable pricing, they have built sustainable clubs with passionate, loyal supporter bases. Their clubs are financially stable precisely because they prioritise accessibility, community engagement and affordability. Presiding Officer, football clubs like St Mirren do remarkable work in their communities, from food bag collections to mental health initiatives. But let's always put the football fan first. Let us recognise that affordable football is not a luxury. It's essential for the health of our communities, the future of our national game, and let us champion the fan ownership model as a pathway to sustainable, community-centred football that serves everyone.
Thank you, Mr Adam. I indeed did not need to use the button, which is always good. And with that, I call the Minister, Marie Todd, to respond to the debate. Up to 7 minutes, please.
Football's more than a sport in Scotland. It's a cultural anchor, a weekly ritual passed from generation to generation, and it makes a significant economic contribution to society. Ms Mackay referenced the recent independent academic research by the Fraser of Allender Institute, which revealed that Scottish football contributes 820 million GBA to the Scottish economy and supports over 14,000 jobs. This figure includes fan spend related to matches across the country, with attendances topping an incredible 6.8 million at professional football matches involving a Scottish team in season 23-24. Now, these figures clearly demonstrate the significant impact which Scottish football makes to society, which is hugely encouraging. Supporting a team regularly is a significant commitment, whether you attend home games only as a season ticket holder or whether you follow your team home and away every week. It's a significant commitment in terms of time and in terms of money. In Scotland, season ticket prices for home fans in the Scottish Premier League this season vary greatly, from £225 at Livingston through to £608 at Celtic. Gillian Mackay is correct that there are no set ticket price caps for away fans and that prices can reach and exceed £30 a ticket. But that's not always the case, with tickets for 5 of the 6 Scottish Premier games this weekend being £30 or less. It's important to note that the SPFL rules require that visiting supporters can't be charged more than home supporters for a similar seat, and that pricing discrimination is prohibited between home and away supporters. It should therefore not be the case that visiting fans are being unfairly treated compared to home fans. This is also not an issue below the Premier League. Outside the top tier, it's commonplace for clubs to offer tickets below £25 to attract supporters. At Arbroath FC, for example, terraced away adult tickets are £21, £22 this season. And last Friday night, St Johnstone fans paid £24 for a ticket to see their team at Raith Rovers. And in the women's games, prices are much cheaper, with the average SWPL match this season costing £9.10 for an adult. Scottish clubs already actively implement a wide range of pricing initiatives and incentives to ensure that football remains accessible to supporters of all ages and backgrounds. These measures illustrate that clubs are responsive to affordability concerns, and it's in their interest to be so. So Hibs ran its Football for a Fiver initiative for a second consecutive season this year, offering tickets at £5 for both home and away supporters for their fixture against Motherwell in January, leading to a full stadium. St Mirren have a grassroots and family offer. Aberdeen have had a season ticket price freeze for 2 seasons, and a lot of clubs operate schemes like the St Johnstone one that Brian Whittle described to encourage family attendance. In the English Premier League, which is the richest league in the world and doesn't rely on gate receipts to anywhere near the same extent that we do in Scotland, there has been a price cap set at £30 for away fans since the 2016-17 season, with Premier League clubs agreeing another extension through the 26-27 season. But this cap is only for the Premier League, and it's not for the tiers below in the English Football League, where away ticket prices vary significantly but can exceed £40 for higher demand games. And interestingly, it's not for the cup games, which would be equivalent to the ones that Ms Mackay mentioned. It's also important to note that there's no price cap for home fans in the English Premier League. Adult season tickets in Arsenal, for example, range from £900 to over £2,000. At Everton, season ticket prices range from £640 to £900. And at Bournemouth, adult season tickets cost between £423 and £1164 this season. So whilst away ticket prices are capped in the English Premier League, home fans are paying a premium. Football in Scotland is substantially cheaper than it is in England, but I absolutely appreciate that cheaper is not necessarily the same as affordable, and affordability is really at the heart of the matter. I know that supporters groups have been vocal on this, and I do have sympathy with the 20 is Plenty campaign. On the other hand, clubs do have their own challenges. Operating costs have surged, from energy bills to stadium maintenance to the cost of improving squads. Simply lowering prices isn't always economically sustainable for SPFL clubs. Certainly.
Gillian Mackay.
I think it's important to recognise that there is already a club in the top flight that are actually implementing £25 tickets for away fans. Falkirk have been doing this for a while now and are seeing absolutely jumping stadiums every week. So I think there is a balance of affordability in there, but I think there's a bit about, can clubs afford not to do this?
Minister.
I absolutely agree that creative response is absolutely at the heart of this, as yourself and as George Adam have said. Clubs need to look at what they can manage. It's a really delicate question to keep tickets affordable, but also to keep clubs alive. The answer to the question, are football ticket prices in Scotland becoming too expensive, for ordinary supporters clearly is not a simple yes or no. Football in this country has always thrived because of full stands, local identities and the roar of passionate communities. I'm passionate about football and indeed sport being accessible to everyone, where communities gather, where young supporters fall in love with the sport and ideally where no one feels they're being priced out. Football belongs to the people, to the families who save up for season tickets and the kids who dream in club colours. Protecting accessibility isn't just good economics, it is essential to the soul of the Scottish game. It's been really interesting and helpful to hear the views of the members on this important issue, but I think we also need to hear from fan groups and from football authorities to contribute to this important debate. I therefore propose that we add this topic to next Monday's agenda for the Enhancing Scottish Football Roundtable Group, which I chair and which Gillian Mackay sits on, so that we can have a full and open discussion on it. Let's support our clubs, but also champion the supporters who are the lifeblood of Scottish football. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. That concludes the debate and I close this meeting.